Kittens found on the side of a road turn out to be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Most days, our routines keep us doing the same things day in and day out. It's enough to make us get lost in the monotony. But every once in a while, something will happen that shakes us out of our routines and changes everything. One day, on his morning route to work, Hadman Shilby found something totally unexpected in the middle of the road. 3 kittens huddled together on the ground. Hadam looked for their mother, but after he was unable to find her, he quickly moved them off the road. Shortly after transporting the cats to the safety of a nearby bush, Hamdan discovered that these weren't just average kittens, they were so much more. After discovering these fluffy kittens in the middle of the road and failing to find their mum, Hamdan Shibli took a moment of his morning commute and moved them to safety. Hamdan put them in some roadside bushes so they could stay safe and wait in case their mother returned, and he planned to come back to check on them. He snapped a couple of pictures of the kittens, but after he posted the shots of the kittens online, he was shocked to discover something that he had never thought possible. They were actually jungle cats, a wild species indigenous to Asia. Learning this, Hamdan returned next day to the bush where he'd left them. Their mum still wasn't there, so he decided it was time to take action. The kittens were all sick and had lots of ticks, so Hamdan placed them in a basket and went for help. Time was of the essence, as these little guys had been lost without anyone to care for them for a while. Tragically, due to their difficult circumstances, one of the 3 kittens didn't make it, but the others kept fighting. Just look at that determination. The kittens were starved, sick and miserable without their mother, but help was just around the corner for them, thanks to Hamdan. Hamdan handed them off to vets at a wild animal hospital, where they would be cared for properly. These sick kitties needed the right kind of help as soon as possible. It was there that they determined that both of the surviving kittens were male and no older than 5 weeks. Imagine being that young, lost and alone outside without a mother. The poor things. The vets gave the kittens fluid and a milk substitute, which they desperately needed, after not being able to have their mother's milk for an indeterminate amount of time. They needed to help the kittens gain weight so that they could eventually be reintroduced back into the wild. For that, formula and fluids would be essential. Soon the kittens were able to eat solid food, which they clearly had quite the appetite for. When it comes to kittens, there's no need for table manners. Things were looking good for the twosome as they began to grow more and improve in health. Their caretakers dedicated as much time as needed to make sure that they were on the mend. Eating actually became a favourite hobby of theirs as they began to grow. They were getting closer and closer to being able to return to the wild. While the jungle cat isn't endangered worldwide, there are only around 600 in Israel where these cats were found. That means that these 2 are very important to the local population. It's a miracle that Hamdan just happened upon these little guys before it was too late. Now they're getting the help they need to make it back to the wild where they belong. Thanks, Hamdan.